Okay, Algebra 1 students, this is the first of two, hopefully short videos going through both methods of solving a quadratic equation by taking square roots. Now we're going to learn soon that this method of solving only works in certain circumstances. This is one of them. If you look at this equation right here, you can see that the only variable is in a squared term. Okay? You don't see a linear variable, just a squared variable. The only other numbers in the equation are constants. Okay? That's the first thing that I want you to notice. So it's very easy to solve quadratics this way. There's just a couple of things that you need to do, and I want to walk you through that right now. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to isolate the squared term by using your properties of equality. You may have more than one operation that you need to do in order to isolate your squared term, but in order for this method to be successful and easy to do, you have to do that first. So if we look at the equation that we've got, we can see that we've got a positive 1 constant term on the same side of the equation as our squared term. So we don't want that there. So we're going to use our subtraction property of equality because that's what will cancel this positive 1. And then because it's an equation, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So you can see that I've subtracted 1 from both sides. So then, what do I have left? I only have one term. I've got my term that has my variable in it. However, I am still multiplying my variable by 10. So I have to undo that operation as well. So what undoes or reverses multiplication? Division. And because this is an equation, whatever I do to this side, I have to do to that side. Okay? So you can see that that's exactly what I did. I divided this side by 10 and I divided this side by 10. So now I'm ready for step 2, which is to take the square root of both sides. Okay? And you can see here, here's my isolated squared term. And after I divide 20 by 10, I have 2 on the other side. So here I am taking the square root of both sides. Okay? You only do this once. All right? And when you take the square root, you're done with it. All right? In this case, taking the square root of n squared is going to get me down to a single variable n, which is what I am solving for. This, the square root of 2, well, the square root of 2 is not a rational number. It's not a perfect square. So you cannot express the square root of 2 as the ratio of two integers. So it's got to stay just like this. And here are my 3 little reminders at the very end of this process. Remember to plus and minus your solutions, okay? Because there are 2 ways you can get n squared. You can square a positive 2 to get n squared, or you could square a negative 2. Okay? In this case, it's the square root of 2. You could square the positive square root of 2, or you could square the negative square root of 2. Both will get you n squared. Second thing, remember to simplify radicals if possible. Mathematicians like to work with the smallest irrational numbers they can get. Okay? So just like we would reduce a fraction if we could, we are going to simplify a radical if we can. And in the case of the square root of 2, there's nothing you can do with that. It's as simplified as it's going to be. And then last but not least, in the cases where we have complex solutions, which remember, imaginary numbers are not on the number line, but they do exist in the mathematics world. And if you factor out the square root of -1 and call it I, that's how you denote that you are about ready to try to take the square root of a negative number, which of course you can't do in the real number system, okay? But you can account for it in the larger number system as a whole. So, there you have it, young people. This is your procedure for solving a quadratic equation by taking square roots. Version 1.